whatever, to help bring in a more deep reflection each time as we meet as a small group or whatever too.
Yeah, I think that's great, Pam, and I think it's a both and I also think the reason that one of the other reasons we did the community of practice approach was so that people could get stuff done if they wanted to, because a lot of people have taken this many times and not gotten anything done, or didn't tie up the loose ends, like Jim said. So that is one of our aims, and I think it's also an aim to let people have their own relationship to it. Dick, I see Jean has joined us. I'm going to have to jump off here in 5 minutes. You all can continue and talk about next steps, but Jean just joined us.
Yeah.
It's here.
I'm sorry. Was I late? I thought I was early.
Oh, it must have been a time change issue. We're about to finish up.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I would have been on. I knew it was not Eastern time. I went back.
No problem.
Well, it changed from 10 to 9 Central.
Yeah.
Okay, somehow or other I got the time wrong.
But it's been recorded, Jean.
Oh, good. Okay. Sorry.
Jim wants to speak.
A couple of thoughts. I appreciate bringing in the idea of community. I think somebody was talking about you should share your life timeline or what you might say in your obituary with dear ones or whatever like that. And it dawned on me, if Judy and I hadn't run into a law firm that was offering a discount on living trusts and stuff like that, we never would have got all the work done. And in a way that's legally worthwhile.
Mhm.
So it occurred to me, one of the exercises maybe is to work out who needs to be your own personal community of practice. That is the people who are going to likely maybe be around to celebrate your death. Well, no, I'm serious. The lawyer, I mean,
He'll be there.
I started to share this crap with my kids, okay? I said,
Yeah.
look here, this is my obituary. My son says, I'm not going to read it because we're going to make something up after you die anyway. What?
That's
Anyway,
what mine would do.
but you know, to sort of lay out the complexity of wrapping up the details of your life in a way that's on behalf of the people who will be there after you and not leaving them with a mess. And I think that's part of it. Who are those people, and sort of who's the technical support team you're going to likely that's going to be required around you. Now you all are great, and the people I went through this with were great in thinking through and stuff, but I know Terry wants all of us to come to his funeral. I remember he said that in Toronto one day, sitting outside John Patterson's house. These are the people I want to come to my funeral, but I haven't got a plane ticket yet. I guess you're waiting. Anyway, but then I also, when somebody said that thing about the spiritual dimension, I thought, oh, wow. And I remembered when I went through this, there was this one book group that went off, and I forget, they studied, I don't know what it was, a Buddhist book or something on death or whatever like that. And it was one, I mean, I wasn't in it, but just listening to what happened to them was so nurturing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and so then I thought to myself, maybe we don't need to think of this as trudging. We're going to do the first session, then we're going to be in this community of practice and this community of practice and this. That's a good idea, doing that. But maybe, maybe there'd be, a session called Plumbing the Depths of the Life of the Spirit. And we could have somebody who had a near-death experience there. And just, and really dig into it. And you could have you could have one on walking through more details than you would ever want to know. Terry could share his binder, I forget what he made a binder. Anyway, you could have like sort of special scheduled events here or there that would take some of these complicated things and just dive in and revel in the detail, whether it's the detail of the spiritual meaning of it or the detail of the practical consequences or whatever. And then just another thing, we were having a conversation in the Global Research Network group. This is related to Cheryl's comment. And we were wondering about how to create a section on the website that kind of shared some of these marvelous Zoom memorial services that we've had and some of the other kind of things that have been done that for those who are ending up facilitating or celebrating somebody's death would give better examples of how you can do that for people.
Actually, as you were talking, Jim, I had an idea, I think it could be what we could do here, not online, but say Elsa and Addie Batika, me and Paul, Joyce and Louie, Catherine Barton, Miriam, maybe, is you have a local kind of community of practice, because we get together for lunch and stuff anyway, and have the structure of this work incorporated into something local. I mean, I think it can be done both ways. I mean, all online too. And yet it just occurred to me that would be, because these are the things we begin to talk about anyway, and having a structure for that, even if this entity thing that's been marvelously created, it's almost like you'd go back into the local where you can have people getting together eventually. I mean, we still get together. And so that strikes me how I would like to move forward with this, not with on sort of an anonymous group online, but how could this be done in an actual setting, a geographical local setting where you would be there for each other and that kind of thing. I mean, that kind of happened like when Virginia Pierce was sick and died. The crew here rallied around that situation, and these kinds of conversations began to happen there in that local setting.
All right, so before Seva gets away, so what are the next steps that we need to take on this?
It looks like Seva has gone.
She's gone. So the question is anybody, so we're all participating in this dialogue, so I'm assuming that we're all willing to continue to work on this and we're willing to participate in some form or another with this community of practice?
And unless there's a declaration not to continue, which I thought Barrett made clear.
But what I made clear about there was these meetings that were happening. I would love to do something like this with a local crew, and I don't know how. I mean, I don't think it all would happen online like this, because I think this is a good structure. But what I'm saying there that for me with all these other people, the situation coming up in the next 6 months, I wouldn't be here online for a good part of that. And so, in my local situation, we could work out how we would do this together.
Yeah, I think one of the big issues with us right now is we're trying to reach out to non-ICA people. That's been a real kind of, we've done 2 years of 72 people who basically, though we've had some people who have not had an ICA background who were encouraged to participate and did a good job. But we felt this was a really, after 2 years, we've learned a lot and we've had some really good reflections on it, and that we need to reach out to other people besides ICA people. That's one of one of our priority objectives to make this kind of a dialogue process available for other people.
Can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm now in a community where there are no other ICA people, okay, that I know of. And so I like Barrett's idea to structure what I would say a face-to-face type of structure with people that you're actually going to do this face-to-face with. It's one of the main interests that I have in this new environment here in Georgia. And it's a perfect community to do it. My goodness, there's already 50 clubs. It's going to be easy to set something up that I might parallel with this work here with a face-to-face group. Yeah, providing this broken ankle doesn't take forever to heal. I can actually move around. I have been in the chair now for 3 weeks.
So Jane, you kicked somebody, right?
Yeah, the sidewalk.
Okay,
So I
so
broke my ankle and tore ligaments and all those horrible things that I've never done for the first time since I was 80. Never done it.
Jean and Joan both want to say something.
I just want to say,
Sorry, Jim and Joan.
now that I'm clear what's being asked of me, I've got to do some thinking before I can say what I can do next.
all right.
But I'm clear today because I've really enjoyed the work. I've enjoyed all the things that we've done, and I really want to support this. But personally, I've got to rethink what's being asked at this time.
Yeah, you need to get your computer fixed too. Jim?
No, I was reflecting as Jane was talking, and couldn't Jean like recruit 5 people from her community and have them join in, and that'd be her community of practice in the small group?
Yeah, that would
It wouldn't have to be exclusive. Also, it occurs to me, you might think about when you're dividing up into the small groups, if you've got a bunch of old ICA people going through this, you might put them in their own group. I mean, you ought to think about whether, of course, I would be on the side of mixing and figuring out ways from that to, to support various points of view and various learning styles as opposed to segregating by learning styles. But I only went through this once, so I don't really.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I mean, I would love to have, I would like to have something that you could do locally, because I mean, all these, the other people that I've talked about would be open to something like this.
It's too dark.
But I would sure want to try it out locally. And I think them being ICA people relative to this is totally irrelevant. That when you're facing death and what you need to do, what's helpful is to have somebody to talk to about it. And that was a really great function of this in the first go around was having that, because there isn't anybody else that I talk to about other than my lawyer, and who's really good. But so I think that what would make this go is something, that we could do in our local situations. I mean, I have a friend, who's dying of cancer, I have like several friends who are in the midst of this kind of facing these kinds of issues. And I think that having a model that we could use, building like the curriculum that you've already done is really good. Now, what does it mean to take that and put it together and have people try it in different situations?
Great point. Okay, folks, I have to leave too. So this has all been recorded, and we're going to do a reflection on this, and we'll get back to you what's going to be the next steps. thank you for your participation. And it's great to see you all. I'm sorry, Jane, about the mistake I made about not getting you the right time. And
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. That's probably my mistake.
no, it's
Well, it
because
was
You
10
told me
and then
that-
it was
you told me
9.
it had changed and I think I went the wrong direction on
I
my
do,
calendar.
I do too, but you could, it was the foot. If you had had the foot problem, you wouldn't have had
Oh,
this.
well,
Yeah.
through the first 2 weeks, this has been a better week.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
So